So after 7 months of knowing my wife loved another man, I came to find out the two of them are twin flames. The same soul, living life on Earth in two different bodies. I knew nothing at all about this phenomenon until it hit my home. So upon this revelation, I quickly studied up as hard and fast as I could on the subject, courtesy of Quora and YouTube. And what I learned had me hopeless as hell, for a while. I came to find out the twin flames are the true divine partners, and this partnership, even when not yet recognized by one of the twins, far supersedes all other earthly partnerships, including your marriage. This is ordained by God, the universe, the higher power, whatever you want to call it. So if you're strictly Abrahamic in your views on love and marriage, you're in for an even rougher ride. Because evidently, when it comes to twin flames, your earthly marriage really ain't all that important to God. Yes, really. Fucking deal with it. Now, twin flames are wired for union once their relationship is activated, meaning that one day, sooner or later, in this life or in another, they will reunite as one, and you will not prevent this. Once they have their awakening, from that moment onward forever, their mind will be on their twin 24/7. Always. Continuously. And no matter how hard they try, they'll be unable to shake their twin out of their minds. Because the most important thing in their lives will be preparing themselves for union with their twin. This new reality causes a most dramatic shift in priorities. Twin flames have been known to walk out on their spouses, their children, and their homes in order to be with each other. Even while in separation, the telepathic bond continues growing between them, such that twins can feel each other's energy no matter how far apart they are physically. I once jokingly asked my wife, "So if I suck his dick, will it make you come?" Look, dealing with this shit requires a twisted sense of humor. Now, this bond of theirs is eternal. So much so that even after one twin dies, they can still connect across the chasm from the other side, because their connection transcends the parameters of this 3D world. They have what's known as a 5D connection, over which death has no power. Also, once twin flames join in physical union, it pretty much ruins them from wanting a physical union with anyone else ever again. So no matter how great your love life once was, it is most likely a wrap with you once they hook up with their twin. And they are craving that hookup with every waking thought. And a lot of sleeping thoughts too. So you go ahead and have fun knowing that. So as their partner, your new reality is, even if they still love you, such love now pales in comparison to the infinitely deeper, more profound, and eternal unconditional love they now hold for their twin. Yeah. So why does this happen? Well, I've read a number of explanations, and there are definitely wide differences of opinion out there, but here's a rough consensus from what I've studied. From the soul's perspective, toward the end of its human incarnations, a mature soul will split into masculine and feminine halves to experience earthly human life as both yin and yang simultaneously. I've read that once the twins successfully achieve union, they're then free to graduate from the human karmic cycle of Earth School and move on to higher energies. Now, from humanity's perspective, I've read that twin flames exist to teach the world about new forms of human relationships and unconditional love. And truthfully, I'm still trying to understand how that's accomplished while wrecking homes, breaking up families, and shattering hearts. But like it or not, this is a divine plan unfolding, so fucking deal with it. Now, what does this all mean for you? Well, first the bad news, and there's quite a bit of it, so get ready. You need to know that from now on, for the rest of this incarnation, you are now merely their 3D partner for this time being, and you will never have the level of connection, intimacy, or importance that their 5D twin flame has. This is true even if you're their only cohabitant or sexual partner for the rest of this life, and even if they never again see or speak to their twin flame in this life. Now, it is possible that the best viable outcome in this life is for all concerned to remain in their current relationships, but making that work will require a massive readjustment, a commitment to openness and transparency, and a real balancing act. So, if you're going to try and stay with them, first of all, good luck. You will need to give them all the freedom they need and focus on being your best self. So let them dip off into their closet, let them have their crazy YouTube videos and Twin Flame Quora posts in peace, because attempting to interfere will only push them further away from you. They need to understand what's happening to them, and often their only source of info from folks going through the same thing as them will be the internet. So give them whatever freedom and space they need to know their situation and to connect with their twin. Speaking of which, do not interfere with their relationship with their twin if at all possible. You will lose, because your 3D ass cannot and will not compete with their 5D relationship. Understand that their relationship will outlast yours, for it is eternal. So you will either honor their journey, which really is divinely orchestrated and guided, or you will not. Understand also that no matter what you do for them, and no matter how good you treat them, they are every day wishing they could leave you for their twin flame. And if circumstances should ever align to make that possible, they most likely will. Have fun with that. Understand that they are no longer yours. It's just your turn. For now. So you might as well make it count. Also know that shame and guilt will not work with them. At all. Because shame and guilt are 3D emotions. They now know 5D love, which you do not. Which is infinitely more powerful than anything your 3D ass can throw at them. And your attempt will backfire. So don't be a victim about this situation, no matter how bad it gets and how tempted you are. That's just your 3D ego talking. Instead of asking God why this happened to you, ask God what's the soul lesson you're supposed to learn from this. You may have already noticed this, but certain songs, shows, events, and even linguistic expressions may now be triggering for you. There'll be a lot of triggers all over the place, and you'll just have to learn how to let those triggers trigger you less and less with time. Like a certain song will come on the radio, and your partner will start singing along with it, and you'll know damn well that for them, they're singing that love song to their twin and not you. Or you'll be watching a show with them. A character on the show will talk about how you can't help who you fall in love with, and they'll mumble an approving at the TV. Or they'll open their fortune cookie at a Chinese restaurant, their eyes will bulge with shock, and they'll show you it saying something like, "The object of your desire draws closer." Or someone will refer to your partner as your better half, and deep down inside you'll want to scream out, "Yeah, that's what I used to think!" I know, it really fucking hurts, it does. The trick is to let it hurt until it can't hurt you anymore. Understand that they cannot help this situation, at all. They never intended or wanted to break your heart. Their conscious self never signed up for this shit, and it's hurting them as much as it's hurting you. Yes, I really do believe that. I know my wife's been hurting like crazy trying to handle this in the most honorable and least hurtful way possible. So when I'm hurting, I need to remind myself that she's hurting too. You'll need to accept that your partner has a whole other relationship with another that's infinitely deeper and more permanent than yours, which will forever be mostly none of your business and off limits to you, visible only via what they choose to disclose. The twin flame awakening and connection tends to be so transformative that quite often their connection is their only true reality, and now everything else is illusory by comparison, including their relationship with you and even with their children. This is why it's not uncommon to see online twin flame advisors telling folks to go ahead and walk out on their families. So basically, what you thought you had with them is now a mere pixel dot compared to the next-gen multi-dimensional thing they've now got going on with their twin. There are only so many ways I can put this, you know? But, now for the good news. Stick with me, y'all. I know it feels like cruel fate just strutted up into your home, put its feet up on your couch, looked you dead in the eye, stomped its muddy boots into your furniture and was like, "Fuck your marriage! Fuck your marriage!" But I promise it can get better if you learn how to work with it. Hold on with me for a sec. Yes, there is a good side to being a twin flame outsider. I mean that shit. I'm not that much of a masochist. I am dead-ass serious when I say that this happened to us for deep divine reasons. And if you're willing to go through the growing pains, I promise this experience will build you up into something better. Know that depending upon how you handle it, this could wind up being one of the very best things to happen to you. Yes, really. But only if you're ready to master the soul lessons that await you on this journey. For starters, this should be the flamethrower that burns to ashes any codependency issues you may still have left. This should teach you to rebuild your own identity strictly around you and not around your marriage. So detach. If you two are going to stay together, you'll need to learn how to love your partner anew without attachment or possessiveness. Now, as long as it's okay for your partner to love someone else, it should now be okay for you to start dating other people as well. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean y'all are breaking up. It means you're both learning how to love others as the relationship between you two changes. This is where I found it quite helpful to learn about polyamory. Never in a million years did I picture myself in this situation, but here I am. There are 2 words from the polyamory community that I've borrowed into my situation as a twin flame outsider. The first is compersion. It's the opposite of jealousy. Compersion is the joy you get from seeing the joy your loved one experiences with another. Now, don't get me wrong, developing this compersion can feel really counterintuitive and painful at first because this goes against everything we've been programmed to think about relationships. But if you're serious about staying with your partner after they found their twin flame, you're going to have to learn how to fully accommodate this new love of theirs. Which brings me to another word I had to borrow from polyamory, metamor. The metamor is the other love of your loved one. So in this case, my wife's twin flame is my metamor. We haven't even met yet, but I've already got a title to describe what he is to me. Good God, I know this shit really is weird, but if that's what it takes to keep my family together, then so be it. Now, you may find yourself plunging into your own dark night of the soul, as I did. If that happens, learn from the experience. There's a light awaiting you at the other side of this journey like you've never known, but it's up to you to accept the mission and master the lessons. So if your partner is still present for you, and if they're still loving you as best they can, honor that. And don't let this experience ruin love for you. Yeah, I know, it's much easier said than done. But as much as it hurts sometimes, understand that this is happening to you to teach you how to love multidimensionally and multidirectionally, if you let it. And it's normal for expanding beyond your comfort zone to entail a whole lot of growing pain. I hope you'll find the following helpful. My wife told me she was in love with another man a week after her twin flame awakening, and before either of us knew what twin flames were. That shattered and hurt me like nothing before in this life. Because I still had young children depending on me, I had to find motivation to keep on going with life, even though I wanted to die after feeling utterly betrayed by my most dearly beloved. So in a desperate quest for inner peace, I read books like Codependent No More and That Which You Are Seeking Is Causing You to Seek. I heard about Vipassana meditation and I went on a 12-day retreat. And although doing so was deeply painful for me, once she told me about her twin flame dynamic, I studied lots of twin flame material on Quora and YouTube because I needed to understand what was tearing apart my marriage. And guess what all of the above taught me? I've got my own inner shadow work I must do in order to know inner peace. I need to love myself as God loves me in order to unlock my greatest potential. I need to know and trust my higher self over my ego in order to transcend 3D into 4D and 5D. I need to be enough as I am and complete by myself in order to be ready for a union based on true unconditional love. I need to trust my intuition and know when to surrender to a divine plan unfolding. I need to gently acknowledge all my traumas whenever they surface and be grateful for the soul lessons learned from those traumas and observe those traumas without engagement or judgment so those old traumatic vibes can pass on their own without hurting me anymore. I need to let go of attachment to outcomes, stop bemoaning the past or dreading the future, and simply be here now. So in closing, while I myself am presently an outsider to the twin flame experience, studying the twin flame experience and having a front row seat for watching it unfold have held up a mirror to my innermost being, motivating me to be my best self in order to make the most of this incarnation. And now I'd like to close this episode with a quote from a book written in 1934 by a man named Godfrey Ray King called Unveiled Mysteries. This book contains the earliest recorded reference to twin flames that I've seen. In the book, they're called twin rays. Now, this quote is admittedly taken out of context, but I think it sums up for us outsiders how deep twin flame love really is. This is what's commandeered our relationships, folks. It reads, "We love with a deep devotion, greater than any love that could ever exist between parent and child. For the love tie formed by the giving of spiritual understanding is eternal and far deeper than any love generated through human experience, no matter how beautiful and strong it may be."